Hey everyone, before we get into today's video, I do want to preface this and say that I filmed this about 2 weeks ago before the Wired article came out about Brandon Sanderson. This is not a response to that article, but there are some parallels between my experience and what that author of the article had. So I do hope that you enjoy some of the insights and kind of see how Brandon's like from someone that doesn't hate him.
What's up, everyone? The first 2 episodes of Brandon Sanderson's book club has dropped. Look for them here on Brandon Sanderson's channel. Today, I'm going to talk about my experience at Dragonsteel. I was reached out a couple of months ago by Octavia, the social media manager at Dragonsteel Entertainment, and she wanted to know if I wanted to come down and meet with a bunch of other content creators and do a book club for Tress of the Emerald Sea. This is that book. Now, I live pretty locally to Dragonsteel Entertainment. I live about an hour away, so they didn't fly me out and get me a hotel, but for the other content creators, they did. I actually ended up driving an hour every day that I was down there, but it was so much fun, and it was such a great experience and so worth it to be able to talk about this amazing book. They had me come down on a Wednesday before we started filming, just kind of a meet and greet with the other content creators. We got to tour the Dragonsteel house and we got to have dinner with Brandon Sanderson. I drove down and I got to the Dragonsteel house and I was met by Octavia, who is just amazing. She does a really good job with Brandon Sanderson's social media. She took me downstairs of the Dragonsteel house where I turned a corner and there was Brandon Sanderson just kind of standing there chilling. And I didn't know what to do, and so I just looked at him and just hello, and I'm pretty sure that he thought that I was really weird and didn't introduce myself or anything. I was just super nervous to meet him. He is actually a lot taller in person. I've only ever talked to him while he was sitting down, but he is pretty tall. And I am 5'7", so I'm pretty short, so. After that, I got to meet the other content creators, and they were just amazing. For those of you that have not seen it on Brandon Sanderson's channel, you should. The other panelist was Murphy Napier, Chaotic Forager, Bookborn, and Lynn B. Wrights. Links to all of these will be in the description down below. After I met the other content creators, Emily Sanderson, Brandon's wife, took us on a tour around the Cosmere house, and it was just amazing to see all of the stuff. This is the house that all of the workers come in and they spend their time working. It is a house that Brandon bought that he has converted into an office space. The art that they have is just amazing. They have a couple of original pieces done for the books. They have all of these rooms. They're all patterned after different books in his Cosmere. It is just an amazing house. It is such a nerdy house. There was a whole wall devoted to swords. It was just an amazing experience to be able to go and see where the magic happens, at least in Dragonsteel. After the tour of the Dragonsteel house, we got to sit down and have dinner with Octavia and Jeremy, who are both in the social media aspect. We also got to eat with Emily Sanderson and Brandon himself. It was a lot of fun to kind of just talk and chat and get to know him. I have to say, a lot of what they talked about went right over my head. There was a lot that I didn't understand. They talked a lot about the publishing industry, writing, but they did talk about other things, just kind of everything under the sun, from the publishing industry to truffle pigs, which was an amazing experience. After that, I drove an hour back home and got a good night's rest. The next morning, I woke up bright and early and drove back down to Dragonsteel, where we had a breakfast and we toured Brandon Sanderson's lair. This is his underground villain lair that he built to have a place to write. It is just amazing. It felt like going into the Pantages in Los Angeles. Just amazing. Hardwood, the floors were tiled. It was just so amazing. He had a giant fish tank with little figurines of his family that they had custom made on top. It was amazing. Emily took us through and toured everything. We got to see some really awesome custom stained glass. I can't show any pictures of that, but it was just really amazing to look at. It was amazing to see where Brandon spends most of his time. We even got to peek into his office, which was filled to the brim with magic cards, stacks and stacks everywhere of magic cards. And no, I didn't get to see any papers for Stormlight Archive 5. After the tour and breakfast, we went right into filming. They sat us down on some tables, gave us some mics, we did a quick mic check, and we were off. We filmed the first 2 episodes. Each episode took about an hour to film. They kind of just sat us down and said, talk. The first episode we were talking, and we got to the point where it felt like a natural ending, and we looked over to Octavia and she said, you guys should probably talk about Tress a little bit. And it turns out we had not talked about the main character of Tress of the Emerald Sea, Tress herself. So we went back and we talked about Tress and kind of her character development. I just thought it was funny that we got talking about the actual story and forgot to talk about the main character. We filmed the second episode and then we broke for lunch. They set out an amazing tea party for us. It was amazing. They had little tiny finger sandwiches, which are my absolute favorite. It was just an amazing time. We hung out and we chatted for a little bit. We took a little bit of a break and then we were back into filming. We filmed episodes 3 and 4, which are regular episodes for the last half of the book. And then we decided that we wanted to do a spoiler video. The first 4 videos, we tried not to do any of the wider Cosmere because we wanted this to be something that a brand new fan would be able to pick up Tress of the Emerald Sea and read it along with us and be able to feel like they were part of the discussion. So we tried to keep it from the wider spoilers, even though Hoid was kind of a important part of this book. So we put all of that into a 5th bonus video that is coming out at the end of this month. So look forward to that. We even had a special cameo from a certain author. I just want to take a second and give a shout out to all of the Dragonsteel team. I want to give a big thank you for the way that we were treated while we were there. This was the first time that they've ever done something like this. And they were super open and said, look, this is our first time. We don't know what we're doing. So kind of bear with us. But I never felt like it was an unprofessional work environment. It was such an amazing time. They were very nice people and kind of very open with us. And that just kind of felt super refreshing after being on social media where sometimes things can come across kind of fake. But in Dragonsteel, I can honestly say that all of them are really good people. They are working their absolute hardest with what they have. And I want to give them a shout out, especially with some of the delays with Tress of the Emerald Sea. They are working as hard as they can. After filming the last video, we broke and went out to dinner. It was me and the other creators, along with Octavia and Jeremy from Dragonsteel. It was really good. We just kind of talked about how everything went. We got to know each other a little bit more, and just had a great time. And then they took us back to Brandon's lair. They showed us Brandon Sanderson's private theater. Now this theater is just amazing. It is set up to look like a Windrunner flying ship on the inside. It's got windows and portholes on the outside. It's got a really good screen, and the door, when they shut that door, I could feel how silent that room was. It was so silent that it made me a little bit uncomfortable because I can't do silence, but it was so quiet. It's probably the quietest room that I have ever been in. You may recognize this theater from when Brandon did a showing of The Wheel of Time. After some deliberation with the other creators, we decided that we wanted to watch Knives Out. Knives Out was a movie that I had never seen and was kind of excited to watch it in this amazing theater. They had nice reclining seats, they had a nice blanket that I got to snuggle up on, and there was 5 of us in this entire theater, and so I had the most room, and it was super nice. And I really appreciate for this opportunity that they gave us to come out and see kind of some of the things that Brandon has around his lair. And then after the movie, I drove home. It was about 11 o'clock by the time I got home. So I went to bed, got a great night's sleep, and I woke up and I had to go back to teaching high school. Unfortunately, I do have a day job, which is a high school teacher, and it was really hard to go back. It was a Friday. I had to go back, teach school. After getting done with what I thought was the longest day of school that I have ever experienced, I went back and I drove down to Dragonsteel one more time. I met the other creators at the Dragonsteel house where we kind of hung out. The other creators were taken out to do a journal making class. I unfortunately didn't get to participate because I do have a job, and they were flown out here, so they were here for the weekend. So they went out and did some journal making. They showed me the journals that they made. They were super amazing. And then I got to sit in and watch Murphy Napier interview Brandon Sanderson for her channel, where Brandon Sanderson rates all of his books from how fun or how hard they were to write. If you haven't watched that video, go and check it out. Link is in the description. It is such an amazing video. I have to say, I sat to the side of the video and I was right in Brandon's line of sight. So as he was sitting there explaining to Murphy, his eyes would just kind of shift over to me and he would start explaining it to me. as if he was talking to me and I was part of the video. And I'm like, what? I am not part of this video. It was such a fun experience to be able to see behind the scenes of where he records his daily updates and all of his live streams. So that was a lot of fun as well. After that, we got shooed out because Brandon was going to do his podcast, Intentionally Left Blank. For reference, this is the episode where Dan Wills was actually not present, and they had to bring in Ben to play that part. So, for reference, that's the episode that they filmed right after they shoot us out of the room. We went and had dinner. We talked with other creators kind of about some of the heavier issues that go on social media and some problems that everyone faces. And it was really great to kind of just be able to relax after all of the stress and just talk and get to know everyone. After that, we came back to the Dragonsteel house and said our final goodbyes, and I drove back home for the last time. Again, I just want to reiterate a big, huge thank you to Brandon and his team at Dragonsteel for letting me come out and spend a few days at the Dragonsteel house at Brandon's lair and letting me be on their channel to discuss Tress and the Emerald Sea. It was such a great time. If you have not read this book, I definitely suggest this. Even if you have never heard of Brandon Sanderson, this is a great place to start. It is super simple. It is very fantastical. If you like The Princess Bride, you will like this book. Not only is it a great book, it has amazing art. Shout out to Howard Lyon for this art. There is full-colored images inside of it as well. This is my favorite one of a ship on the Spore Sea. If that doesn't make any sense, go and read it right now. Don't walk, run. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed my content or want to see more of Cosmere content or any more of Flat Earth debunking, go ahead and hit the follow button down below. I would love to hear your opinions on Brandon Sanderson's book club. Let me know what you liked and didn't like in the comments down below. Happy Year of the Sanderson!